Welcome back to Algebra 2, Chapter 13, Sections 3 and 4 in this book. It's so easy, and I saw what this was, I'm like, oh, I've already taught them that. I'm just going to throw it in and make one video. Just getting free and wild and crazy and putting 2 sections in one video. It's the first time I've done it with this whole series of videos. But anyway, this one is trig functions of any angles. Remember how I told you last video that you can put these triangles on circles and figure out the trig functions for them, and you figure out the angles. Well, you don't even need the circle there to figure this out. Sometimes they will just give you points. So for example, I have this point 3, -4. That means I went over 3, down 4. That's the x, that's the y. And it's like it's a circle, and I want to know if this is the point, what is that theta? What's the angle? Well, I can figure out the hypotenuse by Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared, and I see that c is the radius and it's 5. Now, so if you have a point, then notice, like, this is my triangle it makes, this is my theta. My opposite is the same as y. My hypotenuse is the same as this, like if I made this a circle, it would be the radius. So, or it would be the hypotenuse. So this time, instead of riding some old horse, that since y is the same thing as opposite, it's y over the hypotenuse or the radius, whichever one you want to call it. If you did have a circle here, it would be the radius. So for this one, to get what this angle is, I can use sine of theta equals -4 over 5. And remember, I take the inverse sine to find out how many degrees that is, and that's -53. So I could do cosine. I could do cosine of theta is x, which is 3 over 5, but I would do inverse, remember second cosine to get that little -1. And then I would do 3 divided by 5, and it would say 53 degrees. Or say I'm lazy and I don't want to figure out the Pythagorean theorem. I can just use the points I have, and I can use tangent. And I could say inverse tangent of -4 divided by 3, and it would say 53 degrees, because theta is the same no matter which one we use. And really, I think this would be the best one to use, because what if I messed up on my Pythagorean theorem? Then I'd get the wrong answer. But if I just use my 2 points, y and x, I'd get the right answer for my theta. Okay, so that's all I really want you to know from section 3. It goes into more, but this is the important thing. Everything else is just gravy. You don't need it. For now, you'll learn more in pre-calculus. We don't have to learn all of pre-calculus this year. We can just learn a little bit. Okay, here's the other thing. I have already taught you how to get theta, and it's by taking the inverse. So you push on your button second. It looks like sin, but it's sine. I told y'all that I had a kid come up to me once and show me their calculator saying, "Miss Blackburn, I have proof math is evil." And I was like, what? And they said, look, there's a button on my calculator that says sin. Okay, so you push second and then sin or sine, and it puts up a -1. And then they wanted you to figure out what it is. If it's the square root of 3 over 2, you put it on your calculator and it's 60 degrees. Then they wanted you to try this one, inverse cosine of 2, and it comes up error, undefined. There are certain things, you can't divide by 0, so there's certain things in math, or take the square root of a negative number that are undefined. Okay, so here's another one. This one is the inverse tangent of -1 is -45 degrees. Now, if the problem says they want radians, then you'll use that conversion factor where 180 degrees is pi radians. You'll start with what you know, like if we did this one, -45 degrees. We'd put 180 degrees here because we want degrees to cancel out, and we'd put pi radians on top. Any number on top gets multiplied, any number on bottom gets divided, so it'd be -45 pi over 180, and then you can reduce it because 5 goes into both of those, doesn't it? Alright, so come back, and we're going to learn something really important called the law of sines. Math is great.